Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Siskawati. I'm from A1 2019 and today I'm going to explain the material about presuppositions and entailments. This video is made to fulfill the midterm test of pragmatic subjects. Okay, let's get started to the materials. And the first material that I will explain is about presupposition. So what is presuppositions? According to the Cambridge Encyclopedia of Language, presupposition is the information that the speaker assumes to be already known, or implicit meanings conveyed by the speaker through the use of particular words. Speakers assume certain information is already known by their listeners. Speakers, not sentences, have prepositions. Let's take a look to this example. The Cold War has ended. This sentence presupposes that the existence of the entities it refers to. In this case, the entities is the Cold War. So, we don't have to say that there is a Cold War and the Cold War has ended. We just need to say that the Cold War has ended because it refers to the entities that in this case is Cold Wars. And another example is your brother is waiting outside for you. This sentence presupposes that you have a brother and he is waiting for you outside. Okay. Preposition is a background belief mutually assumed by the speaker and the addresses for the utterance to be considered appropriate in context. This another example. Susan's sister bought 2 houses. This sentence proposes that Susan exists and that she has a sister. Okay, let's see that another example is Mary's cat is cute. Mary has a cat. So the P is presupposes the Q. So when we say that Mary's cat is a cute, it means that Mary has a cat. Here is the characteristic of prepositions. Prepositions are not affected by negation, modals, and question. Okay, the first one, presuppositions are not affected by negation. We have example here that Mary's cat is cute. So the P is presupposes the Q that Mary has a cat, right? So when we change the sentence to negation, that Mary's cat is not cute, still the P is presupposes that the Q, which is Mary has a cat. So even though we change the sentence to negation, the P will still presuppose that the Q, which is Mary has a cat. Okay, let's see another example in modals. That prepositions are not affected by modals. In this example, Mary's cat is cute, and it's presupposes that Mary has a cat, right? And when we change the sentence to Mary's cat must be cute, the P still presupposes the Q, which is Mary has a cat. So it doesn't change even though we change the sentence to negation or we add modals. And the last is the questions. Presuppositions are not affected by question. In this example, Mary's cat is cute. Mary has a cat. The P is presupposes the Q. And when we change the sentence to the question, is Mary's cat cute? The P still presupposes the Q, which is Mary has a cat. Are you get it? Do you get it? I mean, so when we change, even though we change the sentence into negation, or we add the modals, or we change it into question, the presuppositions are not changed. And there are theories of presuppositions. There are two kinds of theories of presupposition. The first one is preposition as a property of sentence. Under this view, presupposition is a part of linguistic meaning. So, in this view, we can consider that it is a semantic phenomenon, And the second one is preposition as a speaker's belief. Under this view, a preposition is something believed to be true by the speaker as part of a communicative act. So in this case, we can consider that a presupposition here is a pragmatic phenomenon. Okay, let's move to another topic, that types of prepositions. There are six types of prepositions. The first one is existential prepositions. Entities named by the speaker are assumed to be present. It is the assumptions of the existence of the entities named by the speaker. And there are two kinds of existential preposition. The first one is non-phrase. An example of non-phrase is the Cold War has ended, or the car was broken. And the second one is possessive construction. Example for this one is Tom's car is new. That we can presuppose that Tom is exists and he has a car. And the next example is your book is new. We can presuppose that you is exists and you have a book. Okay, the next type of a preposition is affective presuppositions. This kind of presuppositions identified by the presence of some verb, such as noun, realize, be glad, be sorry, or etc. For example, that she didn't realize that he was ill. It presupposes that he was ill, and we regret telling him. It means that we told him. I wasn't aware that she was married, and it presupposes that she was married. Okay, and the last example is I'm glad that it's over, and it's presupposes that it's over. Okay, the third type of presupposition is lexical presuppositions. In using one word, the speaker can act as if another meaning will be understood. For instance, Mary stopped running. So it presupposes that she used to run, but not anymore. And the next example is you are late again. It is presupposes that you were late before. And the last example is are you still such a bad driver? It means that you were a bad driver. And the next is structural prepositions. It is the assumption associated with the use of certain structures. Education construction, and for example is when did she travel to the USA? It presupposes that she traveled. And where did you buy the book? It presupposes that you bought the book. The listener perceives that the information presented is necessarily true or intended as true by the speaker. The next is non-factive presuppositions. It is an assumption referred to something that is not true. For example, verbs like dream, imagine, and pretend are used with the prepositions that what follows is not true. And the example is, I dreamed that I was rich, so it presupposes that I was not rich. And the another example is, we imagined that we were in London. It presupposes that we were not in London. And the last one is counterfactual presuppositions. It is the assumption that what is presupposed is not only untrue, but the opposite of what is true or contrary to facts. For example, if you were my daughter, I would not allow you to do this. So it presupposes that you are not my daughter. Another example is I was rich. If I were rich, I would buy a Ferrari. So it presupposes that I'm not rich. And here are some common presuppositions triggers. And we can see here that the triggers of definite description are my son, the boss, Mike. Effective predicate is count, next sense, matter, now, regret, realize, and etc. And counterfactual conditional is if, unless, without. And the next is the change of the state verb. Here's a begin, start, stop, finish, case, and etc. For the temporal clauses, it's before, while, since, after, during, and whenever. For the self-sentence, it's it was or was, which, whom, or that. For the question, is who, what, and when. Okay, and the next is about entailment. So what is entailment? Entailment is not a pragmatic concept. Entailment is defined as what logically follows from what is asserted in the utterance. Sentence, not a speaker, have entailment. So we can conclude here that if the speaker presuppositions, then the sentence entailments. Okay, we can see here the difference between presuppositions and entailment. Uh, Here in the presupposition, the speaker assumes to be the case prior to making an utterance. Speakers, not sentence, have it. More speaker-dependent notion. Meanwhile, in entailment, we can see here that something logically follows from what uh, asserted in the utterance, and sentence, not speaker, have it. And the last is natural logic and less discussed. We can see here the example. From the sentence, Susan's sister bought two houses. We can see that this sentence is presuppose that Susan exists. Susan has a sister, and there are two houses. Meanwhile, from the sentence, it entails that Susan's sister bought something. Someone buy the houses, and Susan's sister do something. Jadi kita bisa simpulkan bahwa presupposition itu adalah praduga. Ketika kita mendengar kalimat Susan sister bought two houses, kita akan menyimpulkan bahwa di situ ada bahwa Susan itu ada, bahwa Susan itu memiliki kakak dan mohon maaf ini ada kesalahan. There are two houses, not a. Jadi di sana di sini ada dua rumah. Sedangkan di entailment kita bisa mengartikan bahwa setelah mendengar kalimat ini bahwa Susan sister itu membeli sesuatu atau seseorang membeli rumah dan saudara Susan melakukan sesuatu. Okay, the next example is the anarchist assassinated the emperor. Dari kalimat ini bisa kita mengartikan, we can entail that the emperor died, the anarchist is a criminal, and someone was assassinated. Okay, here are the rules of the entailments. So whenever A is true, B is true. The information that B contains is contained in the information that A conveys. And the last one is a situation describable by A must be a situation describable by B. Jadi dalam entailment ini ketika A adalah benar, maka B pun benar. We can see here that A and not B are contradictory, not A and B are contradictory. Kita bisa melihat contoh di sini, everyone not passed the examination, and the B is everyone failed the examination. Jadi pada kalimat ini kita bisa lihat bahwa A menyampaikan semua orang tidak bisa melewati ujian, dan B menyatakan semua orang gagal dalam ujian. So it's like A sama dengan B, something like that. Another example of everyone passed the examination, and not we can say this is A, and the second one is no one failed the examination, or not B. We can see here that not B is still convey the information that A convey, which is everyone passed the examination. Okay, that's all from me about presupposition and entailment. I'm so sorry for the likes of my presentation and for all the mistakes that I made. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.